How many times have you sat down with an agent and they set a goal for their business, and then you work through all the action steps that would be necessary for them to accomplish that goal, and then you watch as they fail to follow through with those actions? See, the reason they may fail to follow through with the actions necessary to achieve that goal is a concept I'd like you to consider called competing commitments. And where this comes from is from organizational psychologists Robert Keegan and Lisa Lasko-Leahy. They developed this theory called competing commitments to explain why people engage in behavior that ends up thwarting their ability to achieve an outcome they say they genuinely want. Now, this involves a person identifying something that they're committed to, really committed to doing, and then looking at what's currently being done or not being done in this example in order for the change to occur, for that then to happen. We then get the agent to identify what the action or inaction is, suggesting that the agent might be more committed to something else. That's really where that competing commitment. And finally, then, in walking through an exercise, we get them to come up with the assumptions as to what then supports those competing commitments. Not sure if that makes sense. So let me just break it down. In essence, we say we want something, we want to accomplish something in our life, and yet under the surface we might have a belief that there's something truly different at play that prevents us from taking the actions necessary to accomplish that we say we want. Now, where that really falls back into some fears we may have, and as salespeople, really there are three typical fears at play. Number one is the fear of failure. Number two is the fear of rejection, and the third one would be the fear of success. And do you know what? Out of all those three fears, the most common fear for salespeople is the last one, the fear of success. We're fearful of what has to change or may change in our lives once we hit that success we desire. So let me give you an example. I say I have a goal of selling enough real estate to generate $500,000 in revenue. The fear underlying that might be, what has to change in my life? What happens to the friends that I currently have? How's my family going to react? In essence, when we look at it from that perspective, we start seeing that fear of that change becomes greater than us being able to take the action we say we'd like to accomplish that goal of generating $500,000. Now, as a coach, I really walk them through a real simple 5-step process. And here's the easiest way to do it. Take a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, and draw 5 columns. First column, we're going to entitle that commitment that's important to me and yet not accomplished. That's really that thing we say we want. The second column, we're going to title that counterproductive behaviors. Those things we're doing that actually prevent us from taking the actions to get the first column complete. And then we're going to identify what the competing commitments might be, and that's really those beliefs we may have under the surface as to why we don't do the first column. And fourth would be the assumptions we make. Why is that true for us? And by walking an agent through all of those steps, we come up with the fifth piece, and that is, what would have to change in order for this to now to occur. Now, your job as a coach is to walk them through that process, and don't let the agent give you surface answers. What I mean by that is, quite often we've got these down pat answers as to why things don't happen the way we would like them in our lives. Your job is to dig deeper. One of the great questions is to ask as you walk through this, is there anything else? Is there something more? Tell me more. That's it. Now, if that is left you a little confused, what I'd like you to do is just be with the concept that competing commitments exist. The next issue of Coaching Corner, what I'll do is I'll actually walk an agent through this in a live role play so you can see how that works. I'm Darren Kittleson. Thanks for watching.